Hello, everybody. Of course, gotta talk about it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hunter the Reckoning, Beast of Glenkildove. We're here. We're finally past where I played in the demo, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Yes, we did join the army, and apparently we, we couldn't cut it for the Second Inquisition group that they wanted to recruit us for because we were just too obsessed with the Beast of Glenkildove and how we kissed a boy when we were kids. I'm just gonna say this right here. I got some weird. There were some weird comments left on the last video that I put up on YouTube. Which, if you miss any of this, you can always watch on YouTube. About how I talk about being gay so much, or I get so excited about the gay stuff in the game. I'm gay. I don't know if I've ever made that super obvious. If you look at any of my socials, you'll see like lots of rainbow flags and stuff. And if you know me personally, you know how I talk about gay stuff a lot. I'm gay. So that's why I get excited when I see gay stuff like boys kissing. Because I am a lesbian. What? No, as I am, in fact, part of the, if you look on my Discord, status right now, it says Legendary Garlic Bread Time Queen, which stands for LGBTQ. How do you straight the question mark? Hi, Elias. Welcome in. Oh, my goodness. Hi. Big Fat Socialist. Go follow them on TikTok and YouTube. They're amazing. Hi. Anyway, we're at Chapter 3, The Magpie's Nest. I'm so excited. Finally passed the demo. Okay. On the Grey Wolf, I lay my sovereign ban. I wish that Big Fat Socialist was reading this, because they could probably help, if they know, I understand this is Ireland, but if there's any crossover with Gallic and Gaelic, that would help me out so much. On the Grey Wolf, I laid my sovereign ban, the great Grey Wolf who scrapes the earth away, lest with hooked claw and furious hunger, he lay bare my dead for gloating foes to see. Emily Lawless. Oh God, that was so difficult. Oh, I got an achievement right away, just for clicking next. I'll wear it proudly, gain a significant scar. Oh yeah, that's right. I thought it would be really funny if I was a military guy and instead of using the shotgun in the cabin to shoot at the beast, if I just ran away. Because I was trying in my head, calling back to the first time as a teenager we ran into the beast and we ran away. And so I thought it'd be funny if I did it again, but what ended up happening is he tore into my throat and almost killed me. So that was awesome. Would do it again. Hello. Slowly, painfully, you emerge into consciousness. You are lying under crisp, thin white sheets, the sheets of a hospital bed. Your chest and face feel curiously stiff and numb. Thinking feels like groping. It's an unfortunate place to cut off the sentence. Thinking feels like groping your way through dense fog. The voice, a dispassionate female voice tinged with a Nigerian accent, cuts through the fog again. The world is a dark forest. People move to and fro on the paths between settlements. As someone who knows Nigerian people in real life, they have, I'm not sure if it's comes from like the native languages that they speak in Nigerian, or just a different way that they interpret things in English, but they are very poetic when they speak just in regular everyday life, and it's one of my most favorite things. The world is a dark forest. People move to and fro on the paths between settlements. They go about their business. They do not know there are predators beyond the path. They do not know there is anything beyond the path. Now and again, on the loneliest and darkest paths, they hear a rustle of leaves. They see glowing eyes watching them. There is a mirthless laugh. They convince themselves it was nothing, and every now and then on one of those lonely paths, the predators pounce, and the person is no more. This is what happened to your friend Simon Fox 8 years ago, and Cormac MacDonald was swallowed up by the dark forest too, in a far more terrible way. He was tainted by sin. Well, I don't know if it was sin. No, don't clip it. I don't know what I did. Was it the groping thing? Don't clip it. You manage to turn your head to see the woman who is speaking to you. She is seated on a chair by the side of your bed, an African woman in her early 30s dressed in the black and white habit of a nun. She is lean and tall, her features sharp and angular. The eyes behind her black-rimmed glasses are very cold and very clear. Don't clip when I'm being weird on live stream. If you can't tell, I'm also still sick. This sickness that this flu that's going around Europe is just, and I felt, I think I got a little bit of a reinfection rate thing happening because I went out to do errands, and the next day I felt sicker than ever. So, yeah, don't mind that. Where am I? How did I get here? What happened? Sin? Didn't know we were having a Final, oh my God. Not a Final Fantasy reference. My dog's name is Cloud. He doesn't look anything like Cloud. He's a black dog. I don't know why I named him Cloud. Yeah, definitely, Elias, definitely download it, and you should totally play it on your channel, because you would have the perfect voice for this game, just saying, because of where I mean, again, I know you're Scottish, and this takes place in Ireland, but I just think it's just a much better vibe than me. You are in St. Enda's Hospital in Wicklow Town. You are here because I brought you here. And what happened? You walked down a very lonely and very dark path, and one of the predators was waiting for you there. The nun stands up. You notice that her movements are marked with the same economy and precision with which you yourself have been trained to move. Ooh, she's former, like, paramilitary or whatever the hell I was. Although her face is calm, her gaze sweeps across the hospital room, as though to note potential threats, weapons, points of exits, and entry. She has had military training. You are sure of it. She looks down at you. You survived. You'll have scars, but you will live. Not everyone who has walked in the dark forest is as fortunate. She gestures to a locker against the wall of the little hospital room. Your clothes are there. You should get dressed and leave now without discharging yourself or giving them your real name. All I told them when I brought you here is that I found you by the side of the road. There are other predators in the dark forest, lords of this world with servants and wealth beyond imagining. Their spies watch places such as this for reports of certain things. The nature of your injuries will draw their masters like sharks to blood. They will be coming for you soon. I have put 500 euro in your coat pocket. Wow, thanks. Get the bus to the airport. Buy a flight back to London. I don't know if you can buy flights with cash anymore. I don't think you can anymore. Pay for everything with cash. Go back to your life. Forget what you saw in Glenkildove. Forget the name Cormac MacDonald. Pray that your injuries are only to the body, not to the soul. You have touched pitch. Pray that it may not defile you. Whoa. That's a great line that I'd like to steal for something. Having spoken her piece, the nun pulls a long leather coat on over her habit. She is clearly about to leave. Sister, please wait. I don't understand. Literally, I don't understand. There is nothing you need to understand. You gained a glimpse of one of the things that lived in the dark forest. A glimpse, nothing more. You should go back to London. My brethren and I... She's from the Society of St. Leopold, or something adjacent. Snap, snap. Jingle, jingle. I can't. I love this. I'm already locked in. I'm locked in. No, that's Cormac. Deep down, he's still Cormac. He could have killed me last night, but he didn't. There must be a way to help him. Clearly she's from SAD. I don't know. I'm gonna be really honest. I can't remember. Like, I read the Second Inquisition book like 3 years ago, and I don't think I picked it back up again to read, except to like look at some like silly like John Wick-esque things like Kevlar neckties. Let's look at the stat block things for that. SAD is just in America, right? I know like they're from like a bunch of different organizations, but I'm pretty sure SAD is just in America, right? Oh my god. She shakes her head. That is a lie. The devil whispers in your ear. That is the greatest weapon that the enemy possesses. There can be forgiveness for even the greatest of human sinners. But those such as the things last night blaspheme against the Holy Spirit. Why say little words when you could say a lot of words? For them, there can be no forgiveness in this world or the next. The nun apparently considers your conversation. She walks to the doorway, then pauses. My name is Sister Judith of the Society of St. Leopold. Then she's gone. No, Sister Judith, come back. Take me with you. You pull back the sheet. I don't love the Society of Leopold. I don't know why. I don't know why I'd want her to come back and take me with her, but it just seems like fun. You pull back the sheets of the bed and examine yourself. Bandages cover your chest and the side of your face that the beast claws mauled. The doctors here must have stitched them together after Sister Judith brought you in. Your injuries feel numb at the moment from the lingering effects of whatever anesthetics the doctors used in surgery, but an ominous tingle from them suggests a great deal of pain awaits you. Yay! And when the bandage around your face comes off, you'll have quite a scar. Hot. Scars are hot. Moving over to the window, you look down on a quiet street and beyond it the somber waters of the Irish Sea under a steel grey sky. It is as Sister Judith said, you are in St. Edna's Hospital in Wicklow Town. Looking out over the half-empty harbor, your recent conversation with Sister Judith feels as unreal and dreamlike as the horrors of the night before. You think over what she told you. Could it be true? Is it truly dangerous to remain here? But how could it be any less dangerous to leave now, just hours after your surgery? Oh, I'm super sorry if you hear like what sounds like sawing. Sawing like with a saw. They're doing construction on one of the apartments. They were doing it earlier and I thought they might be done for the day since it's 5, but I guess I was wrong. One thing is certain, you will not be obeying her instructions to go back to London. You tried that once, you could not escape the beast that way. The only true way out of hell is to go further in. I will kiss Cormac as the beast if you let me. Yes, I know how the choice of games work. I have played many of them. I played all of them, in fact. all of the World of Darkness ones. What will you do? I'll return to my bed and rest. I will leave the room and break out of the hospital. I will break out of the hospital. On the way out, I'll try to steal enough drugs to keep self-medicating while I'm in Ireland. Why do I want to do that one? Because it's in bold? Because it's telling me to? Well, I want to. You get dressed. As Sister Judith said, she has left a money clip with €500 in crisp 50s, 20s, and 10s in your jacket pocket. Whoever the Society of St. Leopold are, they do not seem short of ready cash. You open the door just a crack and look out cautiously onto a whitewashed hospital corridor, harshly lit by fluorescent lights overhead. Opposite you, a doctor dressed in green scrubs has just unlocked a wall-mounted cabinet filled with plastic jars and vials and is looking through it. You will never get a better opportunity. Acting on instinct, you break the glass of the fire alarm on the wall behind you, and a piercing siren fills the air. There are curses and shouts of alarm, but soon hospital staff and patients alike are emerging from the rooms to either side and filing obediently down the corridor towards the glowing red exit sign. The doctor you have been watching is among them. As you had hoped she would, she neglects to lock the cabinet in all the excitement. You cross the corridor and begin scanning the cabinet's contents. I'll take it all. And I do this with it. Right into my... make a little pocket thing with my jacket. Or with my Johnny, whatever I'm wearing. I'm just bare-assed. It is only once you get to the cabinet that you realize you don't really know what you're looking for besides iodine and painkillers you quickly pocket. They will at least reduce the risk of infection and help cope with the pain of injuries. Hesitating, unwilling to waste the opportunity, you scan the unfamiliar names on the white labels. You are just wondering if it's worth simply grabbing everything you can and researching it later when a voice from behind interrupts. No. Hey, what are you doing? It is a hospital porter, belatedly responding to the fire alarm, a burly and slightly overweight man in blue scrubs. He has seen you at the cabinet and is now moving forwards to question you. In your present weakened state, you have no chance of overpowering him. All right, so I always eat the desperation bold options. Like, I never did any of them, but I like that they were there. Oh, yeah, right. I'm probably going to do all of them. I always have storyteller mode turned off because I like to just do what I think the character would do in the moment and not try and, not metagame's not the word I want to use, but not try and rely on my good stats. I like to be crap at all times if possible. Oh, try to threaten him into silence, try to bribe him with some of the cash Judith gave me. Try to bluff him. You know, it worked so well the first 2 times. The first time we ran, we got to kiss a boy. The second time we ran, we got bit in the face. The third time's going to be good again. That's how it's going to go. It's going to go good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. So we're going to run again. Go. Despite your injuries, you are still in better shape than your pursuer and easily outdistance him. It said he was portly, so we can outrun him. He pursues you halfway across the empty ward, but then is forced to give up, panting and clutching his sides. Fucking junkie, he shouts after you. You make your way into the hospital lobby. Once outside in the parking lot, it is easy to blend in with the milling crowds of people waiting for the fire service to investigate. You quietly make your way to the edge of the lot and slip away. Wicklow is a quiet seaside town built on cliffs that gradually slope down to a natural harbor. The most defunct maze of crumbling warehouses and rusting steel cranes down by the dock speaks to a time when it was a busy port for the cross-Europe trade. Nowadays, its harbor is too shallow for the huge cargo vessels of today's shipping lines, and so it has been forgotten. Just another stop on the train between Dublin and Rosslare? You can't stay here. It is cold on the street. Your wounds are already beginning to flare up with pain, and you are at the point of passing out. But you have no intention, of taking Sister Judith's advice and returning to London. You know that if you did that, you would never know a peaceful night's sleep again. You're not finished with Glenkildove, nor is it finished with you. There is then only one possibility. Your phone fortunately survived the beast's attack and has some charge left. You call a number you know by heart. Your Aunt Mare answers. Liam, Christ almighty, where are you? What's wrong? You explain in a few clipped words where you are and that you need her to pick you up. An hour later, the familiar old Jeep pulls up at the corner street where you are standing and Mare, at the wheel, honks the horn. You collapse rather than climb into the passenger seat. Thanks, Auntie. Doesn't ask any questions, just picks me up and drives off with me. Vin, I like to make this stupid mistake. I tried very hard in the last game, the werewolf game, Book of Hungry Names. I tried very hard to get my werewolf killed. It didn't work, surprisingly. I tried very hard, and I even turned off that thing. I have this turned off here too. Turn that little thing off where you can die more easily, or there's like a little silver thing that says like, you know, to enable character death. Yeah, Sierra didn't die, right. So I always have that checked off so I can die in the game. And I always like to make the stupidest decisions I can. I mean, to be fair, Sierra, God, I got someone killed. I actually can't remember who it was. I got someone in my pack killed. I just don't remember. Oh yeah, I got, who was it? The Shadow Lord, whose name begins with an E. I got him killed. I'm so good at this. You remember little of the drive home up into the Wicklow Mountains along the winding hill roads through Ballyavon and up to the Wolf's Head. There you stumble like one of the Walking Dead upstairs back to your old room where Mare has made your bed. Then you strip and gratefully get between the covers. You are asleep within minutes. Best aunt ever. This is the aunt I want to be. Oh, I did get Stormcat killed too. Yeah, I got a guy in spirit killed as well. Like a Cairn spirit, like a big one. Best werewolf. Gaia's deadliest weasel. That was me. You open your eyes. Sunlight is spilling through a gap in the curtains. It must be late morning. Exhausted by your injuries, you must have slept all the way through the day and the following night after Mare brought you back here. You're in your old room. You look around. It is much as you left it 8 years ago. It seems that Mare has kept your room sacrosanct. Aw, she missed me. That's so cute. I mean, that's what Huddy says. I have to. Okay. Normally I would pick this one, like, being nonplussed. But, because I feel like my character is, like, very, you know, non-emotional. But I think because she, like, picked me up, no questions asked, drove me home, and, you know, took me in, I'm just gonna pick the first one. Because I feel like that's appropriate. Yeah. Oh my god, hi Letty, how are you? Good afternoon. It's wonderful to see you in here. You notice that the door is open, just a crack, and that you are being watched. After your recent experiences, your reaction is instinctive. Adrenaline floods your body and you roll off the bed, your body already tensing for violence. You wince at the jab of pain from your side as you hit the floor. You can only hope you haven't reopened your stitches. There is a muffled giggle from the doorway. You pull yourself up and look over the bed. The door slowly opens. On the other side is a little girl, perhaps 4 or 5 years old. Her face is covered in freckles and her hair is a cap of thick, dark curls. She is holding a stuffed tiger. She looks at you shyly. Why did you roll off the bed like that? She asks. Reasonable question. Even more reasonable question. Who are you? It's really good. I mean, I'm a person who will stand up on my soapbox and scream and shout at anyone who will listen on the street or on the internet if I feel like it. The choice of games are so much fun. I'm a person who loves those old like Goosebumps, like tell your own adventure books and games and stuff. I love that stuff. So these are just the perfect medium for me to enjoy. Thank you. I will try and kiss more boys. Thank you so much. I am playing a boy. His name's Liam. I don't think they've said his name like this whole chapter. But Liam kisses boys because Liam is gay like me. The most dangerous creature in the world of darkness. A kid. I know, right? Horrifying. She takes a firmer grip on her tiger. My name is, wow, Niam Grogan. I'm 4 years old. Mare Grogan is my mammy. Oh my god, Mare had a kid while we were gone? She's your aunt, so that means we're cousins. This is my tiger. His name is called Blakey. If you are awake, and you are awake, she told me to tell you that there's breakfast. I wish I knew how to say this name properly. This is the first you've heard of Mare, who must be nearly 60, having a daughter. What? Really? You're her daughter? No. Oh, I didn't know I had a cousin. It's nice to meet you, Niam? And Blakey, my name is Liam. Sorry. Oh, I clicked off. I thought I did. I clicked off of the thing. Niam beams, her shyness temporarily evaporating. Maybe later we can play. Pass. Her message delivered. Niam disappears behind the door, leaving you to get up. You look at yourself in the full-length mirror in the corner of the room, carefully uncovering the bandages. The wounds are healing, but it's clear that you will have a vivid scar running down the side of your face and along your body, a permanent reminder of the beast's claws. Maris cleaned your clothes, and you have a selection of the clothes which you left behind in Ireland from previous visits. What's your style? Oh, God. What's my style? Yeah, let's let's lead full stereotype here. I dress for the rain and mud of the Irish countryside. Hand-knit green Aran sweaters, waxed brown leather trench coat, belted at the waist, tweed breeches, and this is the gayest outfit I've ever seen. That one. Your clothes are hard-wearing and high quality. They're designed to last a lifetime. Sometimes just the feel of this well-made, comfortable material against your skin can calm you down. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. The money that the strange nun left for you in the hospital has been left out on. It's my Peaky. I'm doing Peaky Blinders. I know. Again, I know we're in Ireland and not England. I'm doing Peaky Blinders. Okay, I'm doing Peaky Blinders, but like Ireland edition, and it's perfect, and that's exactly what I wanted. Fun fact: going academic gives you an option that has a pair of glasses just fitting the stare. Oh man. Well, I had to. I saw the hat. That's the first thing I read. And then I saw trench coat, and then I knew then I locked in. I'm so sorry. The money that the strange nun left for you in the hospital has been left out on the desk. You flick the crisp notes against your hand, thinking about Sister Judith and her warnings. You dress yourself and go downstairs. At the back end of the Wolf's Head, beyond a green baize door, which connects to the foyer and guest accommodations, is Mare's living quarters. Your room is upstairs. Mare herself has a suite of rooms on the ground floor. Mare's kitchen is a small, bright, neat... Whoa. Let's start that again. Mare's kitchen is small, bright, neat, and kept warm on this chilly autumn morning by a stove. Two huge Irish wolfhounds, one white and one gray, recline on a straw mat in front of the stove. Niam kneels between them, petting first one and then the other. Of Misty, the friendly border collie that Mare had when you came here, there is no sign. Well, yeah, because dogs don't live forever, my guy. I hate to break it to you. I am gonna share something. I've never actually sat down to watch Peaky Blinders. How I have watched Peaky Blinders has been TikTok seems to think that I would enjoy Peaky Blinders, and I've seen many clips of the show via that app. I keep meaning to sit down and watch it, but I haven't. But I feel like I've seen a lot of it just from 60-second clips, and I think it's awesome. Mare herself is standing at the kitchen range, buying herself with busying herself with sizzling bacon, mushrooms, scrambled eggs, and toast. The mingled scents reminds you of how long it has been since you have eaten. Tea in the pot on the table, she calls as you come in. I gather you've met Niam. The dogs are Bran and Survivor. As Mare says their names, the two dogs rise up and pad over to you, sniffing your hands and rubbing their heads against your legs. As animals tend to, they have instantly taken to you. Nice. The three of you sit down to breakfast. Mare keeps the conversation light. She does not ask about why you are in Ireland or about the dramatic circumstances under which you have re-entered her life. I love that. I love that for me. She's the best. You sense that these are topics that she does not want to broach in front of her daughter. But after the breakfast is done and Mare has poured one more cup of tea, she tells Niamh to go and play in the sitting room. After the girl has left, she cocks her head to one side and looks at you in silent inquiry. What will you tell her? Since when do you have... I don't tell her anything. I counter with my own question. Since when do you have a daughter? I adopted Niamh 4 years ago, Mare tells you. It was meant to be a temporary thing. Her parents, just kids they were in desperate circumstances, and I was just to look after her for a while until something more permanent could be found. But well, I found myself getting used to her, you might say. And so daughter, just like that. Mare moves on. You can use my old Jeep while you're here, she says, handing you the keys. I've been meaning to sell it anyway. What have you been doing with yourself? Your dad told me you joined the British Army. Did you learn nothing from the Irish rebel songs they played around here on a Friday? I know, right? This is absolutely terrible. The British Army tends to win. I'm not saying that. As an American, I can't say that. Just kidding. Royal Marines Commando, Navy, not Army. Mare shrugs. Guns and titles and khaki. It all looks the same to me. Your thoughts turn to the challenges ahead. You are clear on one thing. To have any hope of inner peace, you must finish what began 8 years ago, with Simon's bloody death and Cormac's disappearance at Glenkildove. But what is it that you want? That's such a great question. To avenge Simon? I want to protect my friends? I mean, we haven't seen each other in a really long time. I want to free Cormac from whatever nightmare he's been living for the last 8 years. Maybe. I just want to know the truth. How did Cormac... Yeah, that one. Yes, that one. I want to know the truth. That's what I want. In all of this, it is your own ignorance that haunts you the most. You have had only glimpses at the truth, while those who seem to know more have spoken in dark riddles and cryptic hints. You need to know, no matter how horrifying the truth might be. So inquisitive. I have the inquisitive creed. No matter if learning it kills you or shatters your mind, for this is ever end. My drive's curiosity. What? Sorry. Everything will be real to you, must be a reckoning. There must be a reckoning. Your drive is curiosity. You're motivated to find and learn everything you can about the beast and the other things. You will gain bonus. Okay, so, that's right. Duh, because I'm so sorry. I'm stupid. We had Marshall drive because we went with, the Marshall background of joining the military. So the Marshall creed, my God. And so then our drive is curiosity. Don't listen to me. I can't breathe through my nose very well, and it's obviously stopping up my own brain. Glenkildove killed by a werewolf. What? Puts on lipstick. Glenkildove hunted by a werewolf. Perfect. Your hunt has begun, but you still know very little. Cormac can't have been the only beast. The stories about it go back to the 18th century and Mad Jack Dunbar. Are there other things like him out there? You need to know. And the place to begin looking is obvious. With Claudia, Daniel, and Kitty, the people who were with you the day of Simon's death. They even still live here. According to Mare, Kitty still lives locally with her mother and youngest brother, teaching at the primary school in Ballyavon. You'll have to start there. No doubt she'll know where the others are, but it's 11 in the morning and the school won't finish until 3 o'clock. How will you spend the intervening time? I will spend it making notes and getting my thoughts in order on everything I've learned about the beast. Yeah, because that would be weird to not do that and then roll up on Kitty and be like, hey, remember me? Have I ever even played Hunter? God, I'm the worst. Oh, I'm such a poser. I've never played any World of Darkness game. You retire to your room and begin setting your thoughts down on everything you know or guess about the Beast of Glenkildove. Legends of the Beast seemingly go back a long way. You remember seeing in the caves below the Glenkildove monastery depictions of farmers and hunters offering their children to a huge wolf-headed monster as sacrifices. Nice. But were those paintings real or just a product of the hallucinogenic mushroom? Oh god, that's right. You know, the thing, every time I turn this back on, I have blocked out from the last week. I've blocked out the memory of the Last of Us mushrooms that are in that cave, because that's like my nightmare. The monster in the cave paintings was depicted with a wolf's head. Mad Jack Dunbar, an Anglo-Irish rake and landowner in the 18th century, hunted wolves and reputedly killed the last wolf in Ireland. The wolf's head was originally his hunting lodge in the Wicklow Mountains. He also supposedly performed satanic rites here, shocking the Catholic peasantry of his estates with profane and libertine orgies. Nice. Some stories about the beast suggest that it was a demon that he summoned up here one night. Stories about the Beast often feature people who went missing. The one that comes up most frequently is a female Japanese tourist, a student who visited Ireland for the summer in the 80s and disappeared in the Wicklow Hills. Cormac was born long after the legend of the Beast began. He surely can't have been the Beast of legend, but in some way that you don't yet understand, he became the Beast, and though the process ended on Midsummer's Day in Glenkildove, the more you think about it, the more you believe that it began a year earlier on the day you all went down into the caves together, yes, and saw something you were never meant to see. And now 8 years later, Cormac has resurfaced. Did he deliberately lure you into a trap at his father's farmhouse? Or is there something else going on? There's also the matter of the mysterious Sister Judith, who seems to be intent on hunting down Cormac and who may have been using you as bait for this purpose. The room suddenly feels very cold and filled with shadows. You finish writing up your notes. It is time to go. Ka-chow. You drive through Ballyavon. The village is much as you remember it. Houses painted in bright colors, steep and narrow streets, an old stone bridge across the sleepy Avonbeg River. St. Combs is at the heart of the village, right next to the Catholic church that gives it its name. Oh god, sorry. It is just a single long building divided into 2 classrooms. It can't serve more than 40 or so pupils, the last of whom you see filing out to where the yellow school bus is waiting for them. You make your way inside to what must be the junior half of the school's classroom. Childish artwork, often dedicated in endearingly poor spelling to Miss Cullen, is proudly displayed across the walls along with a variety of cheery posters of cats and ruddy-cheeked angels and alphabets. Kitty Cullen is seated behind a desk, looking through the copybooks. She still dresses and wears her long dark hair in the same demure, neat manner, but she has changed. Her features have been stamped with a kind of quiet grief, even desolation, that her shy smile cannot conceal. But when she looks up and recognizes you, her eyes seem to light up and she almost leaps out of her chair. Liam, is it really you? Yes. I don't want to, we weren't that close, right? I give her, right, or am I remembering that wrong? I give her a cool nod. Yes, Kitty, I'm back for a little while. Kitty looks a little deflated at your distant manner, but she manages to smile. Also, don't hug me. I'm in pain. Well, that's grand. You have already decided to tell Kitty everything you know or suspect about Cormac and the Beast. She was part of it all from the start. She was with you in the caves below Glenkildove, and later she was among the witnesses to Simon's death on Midsummer's Day. Your guess is that, like you, she has known the truth about Simon's death for a long time, even if her mind concealed it from her in the same way that yours did. I'm here about Cormac, Kitty, you tell her. And then you tell her the whole story. Kitty listens quietly, only occasionally closing her eyes and turning her face aside as though some of the memories you bring back are too painful to bear. She looks horrified as you tell her the story of how you got your injuries. There is a long silence after you finish speaking. She heaves a long sigh. When I saw your face, I hoped maybe you were just back to see us, back to visit Ireland, but I didn't really think so. The Beast, it's more than just an old story. It haunts this place. Everyone knows it, but only the children are willing to talk about it. We can't save Simon. Maybe we could still save Cormac. Either way, we need to know more. We don't even know what the Beast is. I think I know. The Beast is the devil. It's the devil, or a tool of the devil. We don't need to know any more than that, except how to send it back to hell. Kitty, I feel like you weren't listening to anything that I said. Kitty agrees that you need to talk to the others too. She updates you on their whereabouts. Claudia is an investigative journalist these days for an American news of the weird website called Cahoots. Hey, Cahoots is in Book of Hungry Names. We also got them killed. One of the people who wrote for Cahoots, we got them killed as well. We had quite the kill tally. We did a really good job killing lots of innocent people. living a peripatetic existence. Covering stories around the world. You did such a good job. She earned notoriety early on by exposing I'm gonna see how many of my friends I can get killed. Exposing widespread corruption on the Wicklow County Council, something that hasn't made her any friends locally. Some of her stories deal with mundane sleaze of this kind, but others are wilder and more lurid, exposés of cults and bizarre murders and disappearances, stories that come right up to the edge of involving the supernatural without ever quite doing so. She does a regular series of podcasts for Cahoots. Kitty doesn't know where Claudia is in the world at the moment, but she gives you an email address at Cahoots, to which you send a quick message. How do you feel about what Kitty tells you? No, that's not true. That's not true. No, I didn't like their vibe because they were very nosy and pushy, and that does not work for me. But also in the grand scheme of things, when stuff was going on, I prioritized them less than something else, and then that got them killed. All right, I didn't like want them to die. Okay. Let's set the record straight. You do. I'll talk to Outstar about getting a spray bottle emoji. I don't know if we have any slots left for emojis, but I'll talk to them. How do I feel about what Kitty tells me? About Claudia? I don't really feel anything. Am I supposed to? I feel no. I feel strangely proud. No, I'm not really surprised. I remember Claudia's inquisitive, talkative girl always asking questions. Yeah, that one. What am I supposed to feel? Daniel lives and works in Dublin now, making a fortune as an investment banker. Although he is presently in Hong Kong on business, he's married. He and Kitty keep up across social media, although you get the impression that they have drifted apart since the days you knew them, when they seemed virtually joined at the hip. How do you feel the news about Daniel? Daniel's money might be useful to my investigation. That one. And then there is Amy. I can't remember how to say her name properly. Based on Kitty's account, this is okay. I would care about her because her and Cormac were the only two I spent like any time with. We might have spent time with Claudia like once, like the first day we arrived. Amy has a meandering, aimless kind of existence ever since Simon's death. She's been in trouble with the law for petty crimes a half dozen times, and sometimes does odd jobs around Ballyavon, painting, gardening, and the like. She has enough natural talent that she keeps getting work, even though by Kitty's account, she's as likely to wander off and leave a job half finished as she is to complete it. Otherwise, her only real interest in life seems to be getting and staying high. Nice. She lives alone somewhere in the mountains, an old abandoned quarry nicknamed the Magpie's Nest. Oh, that's the name of this chapter. They said it. They said the thing. Leonardo DiCaprio meme. There is an uncharacteristically irritable note to Kitty's account of Amy's stoner lifestyle. Do you feel the same way? No. No, I've always sensed that there's a real fear and pain underlying Amy's vague, blithe manner. I'm surprised that Kitty doesn't see that. I think Kitty's really judgmental and terrible. I think it said Manic Pixie Dream Girl, right? That is how you pronounce Amy's. Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Regardless, it's clear that Manic Pixie Dream Girl will have to be the first of the others you approach in person. Kitty wants to go with you, but no, you're too judgmental and weird. The school will keep her busy for the next couple of days until the weekend. You agree that you'll drive up to Amy's Mountain Hideaway on Saturday, leaving you with a couple of days to explore other avenues of research. There's something else too, Kitty says. Somebody else disappeared too in Glenkildove last year. A teenager called Rory Hannon. He was a foster child here. The McAllisters looked after him. Thomas McAllister is a Presbyterian, a deacon. I'll give you their address. A blaring horn sounds outside. Oh, says Kitty. I forgot. Hello. Oh, this is Cormac's uncle, right? Or cousin. There is the sound There is a sound of a car door slamming and heavy footsteps crossing the schoolyard. In walks a young red-haired man. He has the imposing physique of a bodybuilder, and his severely cropped red hair and the jagged tattoos crawling down his thick forearms add to his brutal appearance. Come on, Kitty, he says. Get the fuck in the car. I need a fucking drink. Yes. Okay, so the day that Cormac's dad got arrested, and Kitty was there, and he was there, and Kitty was there, and he like said something vulgar to Kitty, and she was like, as if, and now they're dating or whatever. Just sad. I don't want Kitty in my cell. Do I have an option to opt out? It takes the two of you a moment to place each other, but the moment of recognition comes simultaneously. This is Don Chad O'Donnell, one of Cormac's cousins. That's probably not how you say it. It's probably not Don Chad, but that's what I'm saying. You last remember seeing him outside the Fox house backing up his father and grandmother, Orla, in their attempt to intimidate Simon's parents and your aunt. He seemed like a classless thug then, and time seemingly hasn't improved him. Kitty clears her throat. Liam, you remember Don Chad, don't you? He's my fiance. Why did you pause like that? Don Chad demands. Like what, Don Chad? It can't be Don Chad. If it is, I'm sorry. Like that. Like you're ashamed of me or something. Maybe she should be. What am I doing? Don Chad's face. I don't care enough about Kitty. Don Chad's face flashes purple. He has apparently inherited all of the O'Donnell temper. His fists curl up, and you think for a moment that he might be going to strike you before he regains a measure of control. Kitty looks horrified. Don Chad looks at you. Taking in your bandages, he smirks. Anyway, he says, welcome back, these words, and all that fucking shite. But here's a little friendly advice. Don't stay very long. Last time you were here, there was a real fucking mess with Cormac and Uncle Terry, wasn't there? Folks getting arrested, folks going missing, and your little friend Simon getting himself fucking murdered, and that wasn't very nice, was it? We don't want another fucking mess like that, so stay away. And, oh yeah, say hello to your Auntie Mare for me, won't you? He throws his head back and laughs, baring brilliantly white teeth. Then abruptly the sound cuts off and he is glaring at you. Then he and Kitty are gone. You consider this development. Do I? What is Kitty doing with this brainless bully? I don't care. I'm concerned about Don Chad's reference to Aunt Mare. What was he implying? Could Mare and Niam be in some kind of danger? In any case, you need to plan your next move. Kitty has given you the address of the McAllisters, the couple who are fostering Rory Hannon, the teenager who went missing last year. They're close by, living just outside Ballyavon, so you decide to go and speak with them. The McAllister's house sits by itself on a sizable plot set in shady woodland. You make your way up a severely raked path and ring the bell. Ding ding. A much freckled, red-headed boy of about 11 answers it. His appearance is startlingly neat and tidy for a boy of his age, and his eyes are cast down as he politely inquires your business. When you explain that you want to talk to his father, he leads you inside to the kitchen, furnished in an uncompromising style and kept in the same state of immaculate neatness. Ugh. 3 other children, 1 other boy, and 2 girls are sitting at the long wooden table, earnestly doing homework. They are watched over by a tall, gaunt man and a small, pale woman. Evidently Deacon McAllister and his wife. McAllister, who doesn't have a name. McAllister speaks in a flinty northern accent. Sorry, I can't. Ruth, take the children to the sitting room. I will speak with our guest here. Ruth silently leads the children out, and the deacon shakes your hand with a crushing grip. His pale, unblinking eyes are intent on your face as he gestures for you to sit at the table. My name is Thomas McAllister. What brings you here? You introduce yourself and explain the story you've decided on, that you knew Cormac O'Donnell and are still haunted by his disappearance. When you heard that Rory Hannon had disappeared in the same way, you felt as though you had to know more. One of the older children silently brings you both tea as you speak. Creepy. This is a creepy house. McAllister listens in silence to your story. Finally, he speaks. His voice is a deep rumble. Let me ask you a question, Lieutenant Grogan. Do you believe in evil? Let's just say I believe in monsters and leave it at that. McAllister seems to accept this with a curt nod. The deacon stares at his tea for a moment. Those children you saw, he said. I and my wife look after them. Nobody else will. They come from Dublin. They were born in that wicked city. They were abused and neglected and unwanted. They're the end result of a liberal society where pleasure has dethroned God as king. Jesus is Lord! We take them in. the refuse of the city, and we tried to save them. That's nice to refer to children as refuse. I love that. We teach them hard work, discipline, and the fear of God that is the beginning of wisdom. So, fun fact, I was raised in a cult that, like, taught shit like that. Finished a playthrough of this the other day, loved it. I'm having an amazing time. But to be fair, there is no choice of games game that I don't have an amazing time playing. There are some I like more than others, but, yeah, they're all perfect. Liberal society isn't to blame for poverty or addiction. Fun fact. It is a fun fact. It is fun. Yeah, I mean, God had it coming. Who makes vampires as punishment for murder? So well said, Jerry. So well said. God has nobody to blame but himself. No, godlessness is. And the liberals turning the frogs gay. And the liberal society is the first rotten fruit of godlessness. McAllister's eyes darken. Rory Hannon we could not save. That one came to us with the evil of the city already inside him, tainting his soul. Yes, this is all very normal things to think and to say out loud. According to McAllister, Rory Hannon's mother was a crack addict. He was taken away from her at an early age and sent through a series of care homes and foster homes and did time in juvenile detention. When he came to live with the McAllisters, he showed a violent, sadistic streak, once even physically assaulting Deacon McAllister himself. From what McAllister says, there was a darkness about the boy. The darkness! An emptiness behind his eyes that seems to have intimidated even McAllister. With Deacon McAllister unable to control him, Rory took to roaming the woods and hills around Ballyavon, drinking white cider with a few fellow delinquents. Not cider! The devil's juice! Sorry. I'm fine. Among them were some of the Red O'Donnells. It was from them that Rory first heard the story of Simon Fox's death. He became obsessed with it and fascinated by the theory that Cormac O'Donnell had carried out the killing as part of a bestial satanic rite. He somehow got hold of crime scene photos of Simon's death and turned his room at the McAllisters into a kind of grotesque shrine, plastering the walls with the gory pictures. He idolized Cormac O'Donnell, interrogating the O'Donnell cousins for any scrap of detail about him. And his favorite place to drink was the scene of Simon's murder, the Standing Stones at Glenkildove. Evil draws to evil, McAllister says quietly. The evil in that boy was the evil of the cities. The evil of the pagan stones at Glenkildove is older. It is the evil of the wild, the elemental spirits of the empty places. Aye, an evil older and stronger than anything in Dublin, an evil strong enough to swallow him up altogether. These are normal thoughts. There are a lot of characters I loathe in this game. It's kind of excellent writing. Yes, absolutely. Something not quite right about that kid. It seems that one foggy evening, I mean, you could just like be a human being and have empathy and just be like, he was a troubled child. You don't have to be like, he had the devil in him. It was seems that one foggy evening out drinking at the Stones, Rory lingered behind after the others. He was in one of his frequent black moods, and so his friends simply let him be. He was never seen again, although okay, hang on. Okay, so oh god. So they complained about Cormac always having like dark moods or being like, you know, off by himself a lot, you know, and then you chalk that up to him being a teenager. But then they say he was in one of his frequent black moods, so his friends simply let him be. He was never seen again, although Mountain Rescue and Gardaí searched the hills for him. So like, is that like a symptom of whatever it is that's happening? He was swallowed up by the evil of that place. Yeah, we get it, all right? You see evil everywhere. We get it. McAllister says, just as Cormac O'Donnell was, they truly were kindred spirits. There's nothing more that God-fearing folk need to know. That's it? After all your talk about being these kids' only protector, you just decided he was evil, he disappeared, and that was it? Didn't it occur to you that he needed your help? Oh. My god, I'm just turning this character Liam into me. I heard empathy is a sin. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? Because they don't have any. They don't know how to they don't know how to fake it. I tell you now, McAllister responds angrily, you know nothing about Rory Hannon. He was wicked from the day he was born. How the hell would you know you weren't there? Set aside by God as a scourge on all Christians. Underneath the anger, there is something else, something that takes you a moment or two to recognize. Fear. Whatever he saw in Rory Hannon frightened this hard, uncompromising man. He's not hard and he's not I mean, he might be uncompromising, but he's not hard. He's soft. He's soft in the head. The interview is clearly at an end and you make your way out, but as you make your way down the path, somebody hisses, "Stop!" It's the freckled boy who let you in. He has been waiting for you in the garden. He glances nervously back at the house as he speaks. You suspect he is not supposed to be out here talking to you. His eyes are wide, terrified. "I'm Charlie," he says. "You were asking about Rory, weren't you? Claire said you were." You nod. Claire is tongue-tied for a moment, but finally blurts out, "Are you hunting him? Are you going to slay him?" It's me, Liam the Slayer. No. I just want to understand. I want to know what happened to him. "No," Charlie says, "you don't understand. I want you to slay him." "Kill him, drink his blood." Charlie explains that Rory was taken in by the McAllisters a few months after Charlie himself. At first, Charlie had liked his new home. The McAllisters were strict, but they never laid a hand on their charges and always made sure that the children had enough to eat and warm clothes to wear. You get the impression that Charlie has had some truly horrific experiences in foster care. But Rory's arrival changed everything. Rory bullied the other children mercilessly and took a special dislike to Charlie. Whenever he got the opportunity, Rory would tell Charlie that he was going to kill him the way Cormac O'Donnell killed Simon Fox. That some night when Charlie was lying in his bed, Rory would sneak in and cut him into pieces. He showed Charlie the weapon he was going to use, a foot-long serrated zombie knife. Charlie was too scared to tell Deacon McAllister, and he wasn't sure it would have made any difference. Well, that's when you called a psychiatrist. The deacon was scared of him too, Charlie whispered. Charlie would lie awake in his bed every night, unable to sleep, listening for every creak outside his bedroom door. He thought it was all over when Rory disappeared, but finds in you that lately strange things have been happening around the McAllister house. Several times at night, Charlie has heard something padding and snuffling under his bedroom window. He has seen golden eyes glowing in the darkness of the thicket beyond the house. You think of the eyes watching you from the darkness as you climbed up the path to the O'Donnell farmhouse. "He's come back," Charlie says. There is absolute terror in his voice. "He's come back and he's going to kill me." "No, he's not, Charlie. I won't let him." "No, I don't want to. I shouldn't make promises to children I can't keep, but here I go." At the conviction in your voice, Charlie smiles with genuine relief. He has total faith in your promise. You suspect that he'll sleep well tonight for the first time in a year. I did it, guys. I gave a child false hope. He turns on his... It's the opposite of telling them that Santa's not real. He turns on his heel and runs back to the house. You walk back to the Jeep, considering what you have been told. You drive away even though... I couldn't resist. You have a couple of days before you need to meet up with Kitty on Saturday. Your encounter with the Beast at the farmhouse has made it clear to you the kind of terrifying force that you're up against. You need to do everything you can to even the odds. Let's even the odds. The Beast is an animal. From what you've seen, like all the great predators of the natural world, it is overwhelmingly stronger, faster, and has keener senses than any human being. Hiccup. But human beings still rule this world, not grizzly bears or tigers. Because, unfortunately... Can you imagine how magnificent an empire of tigers would be? Because of their ability to plan, cooperate, and use tools and weapons, you're going to need those. But here in Wicklow, you're far from the networks you might be able to draw on back in London. Just getting the things you need will be a challenge. Back at the Wolf's Head, you give some thought to what you will need. Weapons are an obvious choice. Your encounter with the beast shook you, even though you cannot be sure to what extent mundane weapons can even scratch such a monster. It would still be reassuring to have a weapon. Besides, Don Chad's hostility was plain. You may have to deal with the O'Donnells and other human beings before your time in Wicklow is at an end. Given how wild and remote the highest Wicklow mountains are, it might be wise to invest in camping gear and supplies. And what if you are badly hurt somewhere out there? Pop, like that would happen a second time. Drugs that could keep you going under such circumstances might save your life, while other drugs might even give you an edge against a monster like the Beast, but it won't be easy to obtain them. Finally, there are Mare's dogs, Bran and Survivor. Irish wolfhounds are huge, intelligent, and very loyal. If you could train them and Mare allowed you to borrow them, they might be very useful as trackers and guards while you're in Ireland. Oh god, am I gonna get dogs killed as well? Am I just gonna be the worst ever? I'll let's start with the camping gear. Let's start with camping gear first before we do anything else. Many hikers and mountain climbers come to Wicklow to explore the Wicklow Mountains. It is not difficult to find a shop in Wicklow town selling all kinds of outdoors equipment. Sorry for that little laugh. I was just thinking about that kid again. I don't mean to keep laughing about it. I just know what I did. Like, I knew it as soon as I clicked it. I knew it was before I clicked it, and I clicked it anyway. Thanks to your knowledge of wilderness survival, you're able to improvise much of what you will need from various household objects around the Wolf's Head. You save money by buying only what you can't make for yourself in this way. By the end of the day, you have a 30-liter waterproof rucksack. I always find it funny, because, like, as long as I lived in America, I never heard this term. Maybe it's just because it's not, like, a common New England term, which is where I'm from. But, like, this is the literal word for backpack in German. So, like, I love it. But it's probably because it's probably, like, used in other things that I just never knew that. Although since no rucksacks are fully proofed against Irish levels of rain, you have also lined it with 2 plastic bags. Inside the rucksack, you have a knife with a fixed 5-inch blade and a full tang. Its pommel can double as a hammer. A can of spray bandages for midge bites, and grazes, binoculars, and a headlamp, a 2-meter length of cord, a flask and water filtration straw, and a set of nuts. These nuts and energy bars. You have a sleeping bag which rolls up into a compact bundle on top of the rucksack. You also have an old tobacco tin sealed against the rain with gaffer tape. Inside there's a miniature survival kit. Damn, I went all out, goddammit. Waterproof, I'm the best. Waterproof matches, a 9-volt battery, and steel wool for starting fires. I'm gonna live out there. A button compass and a tea light. By the time you have finished packing away your gear and placing it in the Jeep, night is falling and the moon is rising over Wicklow Mountains. Tomorrow you'll make your rendezvous with Kitty and see what answers. Oh, do Kitty have to come? Rucksack is a term used in the UK. Yeah. Well, it's in Book of Hungry Names as well. That term. But that's takes place in America, and is written by an American. Lying to children is top tier comedy, to be honest. I'm sorry. Welcome in, Thorfinn. Kitty still lives in the village with her mother and her younger brother. All of her other siblings have moved away. From what Mare has said, it sounds as though her mother is suffering from serious mental health issues. If Kitty didn't look after her, the chances are that she might starve herself to death within a few months. Jesus. What a leap. Like, not saying that it's not true, but it's just a thing to think to yourself. Kitty wasn't here. She'd starve. She'd starve immediately. She'd be out of business in a week's time. You wouldn't know from the cottage's freshly painted warm orange exterior and trellis of purple wisteria and clematis, or the neatly kept vegetable garden in the front. Kitty always did like to keep everything just so. She emerges as you look at her, giving you a bright smile. For a moment, you might both be back in your teenage years going on another trip to Glenkildove or the Vale of Avaca. But then she comes close enough for you to see the lines of sadness and weariness etched into her face, and the illusion slips away. Perhaps Kitty is thinking the same thing of you as she studies your face. The injury to your face has healed enough for you to leave off the bandages this morning. A fierce white scar runs down the right side. A stranger seemed to be staring back at you in the mirror this morning. A hard, haunted survivor. That's me. Wow, gay but hates Kitty. Which one is the truth? Two things can be true at the same time, Vin. My God. I don't. There's a part before where like Kitty's like, I'm stomping away. I'm having the dramatic moment for once, and I read it and I just went, oh. Ew. So that's really where my disdain for Kitty comes from. According to Kitty, Amy, or Manic Pixie Dream Girl, lives by herself up in the Wicklow Mountains on the grounds of a flooded quarry a few miles away from Glenkildove. Kitty's never been there in person, just heard secondhand directions, but she knows it will be a long drive. What will you talk about? Oh, I don't want to talk. Oh. Why'd you become a school teacher? That's the most innocuous of all of these questions, because I really don't want to talk about the day Simon was killed, none of my business. That's the most innocuous question. Kitty smiles. Oh, it's the best job in the world, and the worst job too sometimes, but I love looking after the kids, imagining what they're going to become. In the classroom, I'll see little Daniels sometimes. Weird. She's weird. Little Claudia's, little Yu's, little Kitty sometimes. God, love them. you know, there is never a point in my life. And again, and when I was in the cult, I spent a lot of time with kids, watching kids, for like people who had kids in the nursery and stuff. There was never a moment in all those years that I ever went, I see a little me in this child. Because that's very narcissistic and weird. She's weird, okay? Who amongst us doesn't announce their tantrums? Oh, that's rough, buddy. You trail off. She was about to mention Cormac or Simon, then stopped herself. The silence that follows lasts a long time. Good. So you drive up out of the valley and into the hills beyond. A soft rain begins to fall, blurring the outlines of everything outside the car. You find yourself thinking about the rainy day that Simon drove you all to Glenkildove, the day that you entered the caves, and how Simon stopped for that tramp. That tramp. I think they mean like the bum. The tramp. You tramp. Old Tom on the road. Your memories from that day have taken on a blurred, dreamlike quality themselves. As you climb higher, driving up little used, muddy, treacherous mountain roads, the rain continues to fall in dense gray veils. The Jeep's GPS, oh my god, seems as unable to function as your phone's up here, and you become lost for a time among the peaks. Oh good, more alone time with Kitty. Do you want to listen to one of Claudia's podcasts, Kitty suggests? I've always meant to, and sure, this seems like as good a time as any. I can't. I decline. I'd rather the company of my own thoughts. For no other reason than just to be a jerk. You continue the drive in silence. Lie to kids. Mean to school teachers for no reason. For some imagined slight that happened like 10 years ago. It is sunset by the time you arrive at the quarry, which has been dug into a glen between two steep hills. Despite the rain, you are glad to get out of the car and breathe some fresh, if damp, air. It seems that somebody else is visiting Amy. Alongside her battered and beat up white van is a big black SUV. It looks far better cared for and more expensive than any vehicle Amy would ever own, based on Kitty's account. You have parked on a rocky area which overlooks the black still waters of a flooded quarry like a cliff. There are a handful of half-ruined clapboard buildings from when this quarry was last used in the 1950s. Amy has made her home in an old aluminum caravan among them. As you approach it, you hear voices raised in anger. I mean, yeah, if like she's in danger, but if she's not, it would be very weird. I'll make my way forward stealthily to see if I can overhear what is said without being seen. It is easy enough to avoid making any noise on the wet grass. Kitty shoots you a surprised look as you slip forward, but makes no comment. Good. Be calm, Jamie. Annie doesn't mean to cheat us. You don't, do you, Annie? And I know you won't. Not just because we have already paid you in full, although we have. Not just because Jamie could hurt you very badly if you did, although he could. But because it is in your nature. Do you understand, Annie? You are the weird woman. You are the banshee. You are the raven that flies down to the abyss and brings back gifts. We all have our roles to play. Jamie is a warrior, I am a shaman, and you are what you are. There is a muttered response from Annie, but you cannot make it out. You hurry back to Kitty just as the visitors emerge. It sounds like they're playing, like, Dungeons and Dragons. The caravan door opens and out steps an elderly man, fastidiously well-dressed in a three-piece tweed suit, black fedora, and black patent leather boots that are somehow still gleaming and immaculate despite the mud. His iron gray hair is swept dramatically back from his forehead, and his beard is neatly trimmed. One of the lenses of his glasses is blacked out. Following him like a shadow is a tall and lean younger man. He is dressed in a black t-shirt and combat trousers, and his head is shaved. The two of them look at you as they pass by, and the older man smirks. He seems particularly interested in your scar, and his hand unconsciously rises to the blacked out lenses of his glasses as he studies it. More customers for the witch woman. Come on, Jamie, let us leave her to her business, he says, his voice a pleasant, self-assured baritone tinged with an East Coast American accent. Oh, well, I should have... That's just me talking from Massachusetts. More customers for the witch woman. Come on, Jamie, let's leave her to her business, he says. There we go. Better. He gestures you to the office with a flourish. There is just room to stand inside the caravan if you keep your head low. The door opens onto a hallway, and for a moment you pause in disorientation. It is as though you are in a vast, glittering space surrounded by crowds and crowds of people. The illusion is dispelled as you realize that Amy has adorned every wall and surface with mirrors and mirror shards, creating an unsettling funhouse effect. Sitting in the small living area on the right is Amy, her pale skin with its fine spray of freckles, her huge blue eyes and long white blonde hair as striking as ever. Annie looks from you to Kitty, then back again. You remember me, she says at last. What? Of course we remember you. We came here to see you. She nods. Yes, of course, she mutters mechanically. I might, because Liam is canonically, as I picked, pansexual or bisexual, pansexual. I might want to stick my ding-a-ling in crazy. We'll see what happens. Amy gestures for the two of you to sit down on stools by the counter. She sets about making tea. Who were those two? Kitty asks as the two of you settle down. Them? Oh, they're just my friends. They didn't sound very friendly when we arrived, Kitty says. Friends fight sometimes, Amy observes vaguely. Sure, isn't that right, Kitty? For some reason, Kitty turns pale and is reduced to silence by this seemingly banal remark. But you have been considering the situation. It seems fairly clear to you that Amy deals drugs from this caravan, and that the mismatched pair you just encountered are two of her customers, and apparently dissatisfied ones at that. If this is the case, Amy may be in trouble. The two did not seem like people to mess around. Finn, stop. You should know this about me by now. Cups of steaming tea and mismatched mugs in front of you, you explain what has brought you here and the horrifying truths that your encounter with the beast brought home to you. We know how mad it sounds, Kitty says, but she appears to struggle with a tactful way to phrase what comes next. You always seem like you knew things back then, like when you went and got Miss Macrani when we were in the caves. Amy stirs her tea without answering for a while. I don't remember all that much from back then. I remember him, she says, indicating you, but there are lots of blanks. I'm missing days, weeks sometimes, and the memories that are there are all jumbled up together and sometimes don't make any sense. It's horrible. It's very confusing, obviously. I feign sympathy. I'll say I'm so sorry, I guess. Amy barely seems to hear you, but Kitty nods, clearly appreciating your compassion. Just kidding. I've tried to understand, Amy says, why your friend was killed, why it all happened and keeps happening. Amy proceeds to lay out a secret history, one that she has put together from folklore and seemingly her own hunches and intuitions. A long time ago, the British Isles were known as Mirrodin's Precinct, or the Isles of the Mighty. They were the home of the ethereal Danann. Changeling lore, ding, 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 changeling lore, sorry. But actual real life Irish folklore. Mighty craftsmen and magicians, a race so far above humanity that they could be considered gods. Fae gods. They would ride out across the sea on their fairy steeds, their terrible hunting hounds at their sides, and capture such humans as caught their fancy to bring them back to their strongholds to serve as slaves. But a reckoning was coming. Humans developed a new weapon that was effective. Iron? Is it cold iron? Yep. Against the Danann, cold iron. They invaded Britain. I love Changeling. Sorry. And I know this is real folklore, but this is obviously, in World of Darkness relates back to Changeling. I love Changeling. They invaded Britain to liberate their kin and drove the Danann into their most remote redoubts in the mountains of Wales, the Scottish Highlands, and across the sea to Ireland. As humanity grew, they forced the Danann even from those hiding places and into the other place. The other place? Asks Kitty. Amy nods. Where they first came from. You might call it Hell, Tirnanog, or the Land of Roots. Arcadia? Sorry. I'll stop being weird. I won't, because I can't. I literally can't. I've tried. Okay. There are various entrances to the other place around Ireland. The caves beneath Glenkildove are one of them. Amy believes that oh my goodness, mycelial network of mushrooms, that grows there is partly rooted in our world and partly in the other place. Thanks to his knowledge of the occult, Mad Jack Dunbar was able to summon up a pack of Danan's hunting hounds from the other place, but lost control of them, and they tore him apart. Ever since then, they have stalked Glenkildove. Most of the time, they look like huge wolves, but at full moon, they can take on a towering wolf monster form. We call them the Beast, says Amy, her eyes wide, as though they were just one. But there are 5. Sometimes I hear them at night, padding around the caravan or howling at the moon. They only come out at night. You can tell that Kitty is incredulous. Then how did Cormac become one, she asks. Liam is sure now that he saw Cormac turning into a monster right before what happened. Annie shakes her head. That was not Cormac. Your friend Cormac died in the caves the first time you were there. Oh my god. The first time? Who did I kiss? The leader of the hounds, the worst of them, he can change his shape, become a... Oh no. Become a man or a wolf or a monster whenever he chooses. He just pretended to be your friend for a year until he got bored of the pretense. Maybe he was that young fellow who disappeared too, that Rory Hannon. Oh my god. I kissed some random werewolf dude? You know, it is what it is. What are you gonna do about it? Just another story, another tale in the life of Liam, the ex-paramilitary or whatever. Kitty looks doubtful. How do you feel about Amy's theories? I'm into it. Amy's clearly a delusional conspiracy theorist. As strange as they sound, they're all I have to go on. I believe her. I can tell that you don't believe me, Amy tells Kitty. That sister who came here the other day didn't believe me either. Kitty frowns. What sister? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you. A sister came up here, a nun. She came from Nigeria. Sister Judith was her name. She was asking about the Beast and Cormac and all of it, too. I told her what I told you, but she didn't believe me. She said she was from the Society of St. Leopold. She said killing things like the Beast was her job. I met her, too, in the hospital in Wicklow. I think she's stalking the Beast and used me as a lure. A lure. Kitty's eyes widen. That's no way for a sister to behave. Was Kitty this, like, religious when we were teenagers? I don't think so. Kitty has been thinking over what Amy said about the nun. I've heard there's a sister staying with Father Matt. It must be the same woman. If she's looking for the Beast, we should join forces. Maybe she knows the way to help Cormac. Let's visit her tomorrow. Do we have to? Kitty, you have the worst ideas. While you have been talking, the sun is set and it is dark outside. A sudden spatter of rain against the window of the caravan makes everyone jump. It has turned from its daytime drizzle into a downpour. Then a howl breaks the silence, a sound you know too well. It is joined by several more. Kitty screams and you feel cold sweat beating your forehead, while even Amy goes pale. Paler, I assume. They'll be abroad tonight then, she says, collecting herself. The 2 of you can't go back tonight. If they catch your scent on the breeze, they'll run you down and tear you apart. You can stay in the caravan. I have a couple of sleeping bags. Kitty shakes her head. No, I can't stay out tonight. My ma'am and Dare would be worried sick. Based on what you know of Kitty's mother, you suspect that Kitty's worry is more that her mother can't really look after herself without Kitty to watch over her. A range of expressions too quick to follow pass across Amy's face. You'll do what you must, she says finally, but God guard you if you take the road tonight. Kitty hesitates. She was clearly as disturbed as yourself and Amy by the howling and is torn between her fears for her mother and her fear of the night outside. And the howling creatures out there aside, driving down those mountain roads in this rain-swept darkness will be no easy feat. What will you do? This is the perfect opportunity to learn more about the threat I'm up against. I'll wait for the howling to die down, then go out and look for their tracks. Kitty, whatever. Do whatever you want. There's a tense mood in the caravan while you wait, grimly counting down the minutes. Annie takes out some papers and a baggie full of weed, rolls herself a joint on the grimy kitchen countertop, nice, and lights up. The caravan fills with the unmistakable piney, skunky smell of marijuana smoke. Kitty shoots Annie a sour look. Annie, either misunderstanding her or sardonically affecting too, offers her the joint. Kitty refuses it with a wrinkle of her nose. Annie waves the joint at you. No. I need to stay focused. I need to stay focused. I need to be on edge, actually. I can't be chill. I want to chill, but I can't. Half an hour passes by. This is the most you can allow the beasts to get ahead. Wait more on a rainy night like this, and any trail that they have left behind will be washed away altogether. To your surprise, Amy comes along as well, following Kitty out. She shrugs off your inquiring glance. If you're going out there, you'll need me too. Outside, the rain has returned to a thin drizzle, and there is a glimmer of moonlight through the clouds. It's once again a relief to breathe some fresh air after the close confines of the caravan. But finding the trail will be difficult. You see some evidence of the movements of the howling creatures, whom you are starting to think of as wolves. They have left footprints here and there in the mud and have bent back or crushed undergrowth here and there in passing. But even so, you are tracking creatures of the hills and the woods, animals that can flow like smoke across the ground. If Annie is right, they have lived in these lonely places for centuries without being detected. You have a hard task ahead of you. The wolves are clearly swift and tireless runners. They lead you on a long and difficult journey up hills and through dense thickets and bog. By the time the sun is starting to rise, you are all exhausted and covered in mud. And so it is at first an anticlimax when you emerge from a stretch of trees to find the route ahead into a grassy field, blocked by a high electrified fence. You can see a drainage tunnel running under the fence. The wolves must have crawled through here, but there's no way that you could. But Annie looks thoughtful. Those are Imani Mokrani's fields on the other side of that fence, she tells you. Imani was the woman who found you and the others when you were lost in the caves, thanks to Annie herself. I don't think it's coincidence that the wolves ended up here at the end of the night, she says. Kitty asks what she means. Let's talk about it back at the caravan, mutters Annie. She glances up at the trees. Woods have ears. The swirling images of the caravan mirrors dancing around her. Annie rolls up and lights a joint. Kitty shakes her head despairingly. Annie, all of this is weird and frightening enough without us dealing with the secondary smoke from your ganja. Shut up, Kitty. My caravan, my rules, says Annie placidly, taking a puff. You consider what you have learned. The wolves went to ground somewhere on the land of Imani Mokrani, the woman who found you and the others in the cave 9 years ago. Perhaps that's just a coincidence, but your instinct says no. Looking back on your conversation with Imani in her car after the caves, you can recall certain things she had said, things that hinted at a deeper connection to Glenkildove and the beast in the caves. You feel certain that Imani is tied up with all of this. If the 5 wolves are shapeshifters, as Cormac seems to be, perhaps she was one of them out there tonight. Kitty can add little to what you already know of Imani. She came from Algeria about 20 years ago. She'd been a civil engineer in Algiers, started her own firm, and apparently became moderately wealthy because she was able to retire early and purchase a tract of land around Glenkildove. Since then, she's been something of a recluse up there. Neighboring farmers speak well of her. They like that she keeps to herself. Perhaps tomorrow, after you get back to the Wolf's Head, you can investigate further. For the meantime, you are overdue a night's sleep. Annie sets out sleeping bags in the kitchen section of the caravan, and you and Kitty bed down. You fall asleep almost immediately and do not wake again until the morning. After a hasty breakfast of Weetabix and tea, all that Annie has to offer you, you drive back to Glenkildove. Kitty is quite frantic to check in on her mother, so you drop her off at the cottage first before driving to the Wolf's Head. Parking around the back of the Wolf's Head, you notice an unfamiliar car in Mare's private parking area, a sleek red Tesla. Trash it. You enter the kitchen through the back door. Ooh, hello. Hi. Seated at the table while Mare fries eggs at the range is a young woman dressed in a white baby chorus t-shirt and ripped black jeans, a black leather jacket slung over her chair, her expression below her shades, hard and wary. Her hair has been dyed blue and is arranged in a chaotic spiky halo around her head. Opposite her sits a young man, his dark, delicate good looks accentuated by his clothes, which somehow manage to look casual and yet expansive. It takes you a moment to recognize Claudia, Fox, and Daniel. Own. Daniel raises an eyebrow. He registers your scar without comment. Finally here? Let's talk about Cormac. Boom. Did it. Chapter 4. All right, we'll be back tomorrow to read Chapter 4. I hope I have more opportunities to be unnecessarily cruel to Kitty and to lie to more children, because that was hilarious. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me, and I'm super excited. I'm in this. I'm locked in. This is fantastic. Get it if you haven't. See you tomorrow.